Massage therapists of Reddit. Have you ever had a sexual experience while giving a client a massage? Or, what is the creepiest thing to ever happen to you while giving a client a massage? My wife and I were at a small resort in Costa Rica. When we go on vacations she always gets massages, but I never do. This time we decided to get a couples massage. We get in the room, and the two are waiting for us each by a table. She had this Latin love god, and I a cute girl in her early 30s. They tell us to take off our clothes and gave us these little paper undies, then left the room. The room was nice, it had a little fountain with some foliage and some soothing sounds from speakers. We each looked at the paper undies, laughed and decided to forego them. It just seemed too silly. They started the massage, and it felt good. She would stretch my arm then start working it, first going over it lightly then gradually getting harder. The time came to do my butt. She moved the towel down and started working my cheeks. Then the inside of my cheeks, which I thought was odd. But I'm new to this massage world and maybe that's what a deep tissue was. At this time I'm starting to feel, not relaxed but insecure. I suddenly become aware of my wife next to me who sounds more than relaxed. Meanwhile back at my butt, she was really doing the inside of the cheeks well. I had hoped this was the last spot she would do. The last thing I want is butt cheek sweat rubbed all over my body. Then started to press down on my actual anus. I felt pressure building up behind her thumb. I clench, and I clench like I never have before. I spin around and say very politely thank you for the massage. My wife, our time isn't up yet. I told her we have to go now. I told my wife what happened and she laughed at me and said only to you. And now this is her favorite story to tell. I work part-time as a receptionist at a professional massage studio. So, I have never experienced this directly as I'm not a licensed massage therapist. But I do hear the stories afterwards and have to play gatekeeper to the creeps who keep trying to book appointments with us after they've already been kicked out. The most intense story, there's a guy who would come to our studio every few months to see a specific therapist. He would constantly move the sheets and his body around the table, getting very close to exposing himself. The behavior started escalating. Second to last time he was in the studio, he accidentally exposed himself to his therapist, and she re-raped him and finished out the session. Last time he was here, he pulled the sheets off himself, pointed to his dong, and says this is where I hurt. She left the session and hid in the break room until he left the premises and was told to not return. Now, he keeps creating new Google phone numbers and pseudonyms to try to get back in our studio for a session with her. So we need to be extra vigilant in booking this therapist's clients because some people are just very determined. Other than that, we do have people call ask if we offer happy endings or if we have any Asian ethnic therapists, which is usually pretty ridiculous but funny. As long as nobody comes in the studio to try to act on it, there's not much we can do. He pulled the sheets off himself, pointed to his dong, and says this is where I hurt. This is horrifying yet hilarious to picture. I was previously a certified massage therapist and nothing creepy or physical. I've been physically attracted to clients before, but it is drilled into your head that this is absolutely not the setting to pursue this. There was maybe one odd thing that isn't all that odd but was distracting to me. I always drape the client so the top of the sheet is up to their armpits. So guys and girls, obviously, always have their nipples covered. This one dude though kept folding the sheet down to just under his nipples. I would keep moving him and adjusting the sheet but he would eventually fold it back down. The edge of the sheet perfectly underlined his nipples and I just kept getting distracted by them. They were like two eyes staring at me. I have a rare medical condition where I breathe through my nipples. I once had a massage therapist repeatedly try to suffocate me. I have a friend who is a licensed massage therapist and has been studying medicine and been around doctors for much of his life. One of his sessions with a regular female client, while she was face down and he was in front of her, by her head, working on her back, she reached up and grabbed his butt. He asked what she was doing, and she said sorry, I don't know, I couldn't help myself. He told her not to do that again, and the rest of the session continued as normal. At the end of the session he got her a glass of water, and as he turned around to leave she grabbed his butt again. Still she apologized and seemed genuinely upset and embarrassed, insisting that she just couldn't help herself. My friend ponders for a moment, before doing a peripheral vision check on her. Her vision is way below what is normal. Massage therapist calls the client's husband and suggests that they go see a doctor because there might be something wrong with her impulse control and vision, suggesting maybe some sort of frontal lobe problem. Sure enough, a few days later she had an MRI and there was a tumor developing in her frontal lobe. Glioblastoma, I think. I forget the exact medical language he used. It was removed and she is doing fine now. But really do save lives. Believe me or not, I had a massage with a girl once and she was new. Before I flipped over from my stomach, she whispers, anything else I can do or focus on before you turn over, based on the place being one of the most popular massage places nationwide. I figured she meant it non-physically. I said no. I turn over and she massages my legs no problem. But when she does my arms, she rests my hands on her breast slightly and I had to think about my grandma so hard to keep from getting in trouble. We finished the massage and I left. I rescheduled and got her again a few weeks later and she had changed up her style to rest my arm on her rolling chair for that. So someone must have mentioned something. Hey, better to be wrong than to misread the situation. I used to be an LMT. A few incidents led me to quit the profession because it wasn't profitable or I had creepy old dudes trying to get me to do discreet crap with them. I'm a male BTW. I did sports massage and this old tennis coach from a prestigious private school comes in needing a full body deep tissue. Okay, cool. He might be able to hook me up with the school to do their pre and post during tennis sessions. Halfway through the session, he asks if I could focus more on his glutes. Okay, it's a common thing. Tennis requires a lot of running and hamstrings and glutes go together. He then asks if I could go deeper. Could you massage my prostate? Record screech, what the frick? No, I'm not going to massage your prostate, but your urologist can check that for you. His hand tries to feel up my leg when I worked on his shoulders and the further he moved up, I brush his hand off. Next thing you know he's grabbing my thighs hard, and I grabbed his clavicle hard in response and told him, if he doesn't let go, he won't be teaching tennis anymore. Then told him to GTFO. He still paid me, and told me he was going to come back cause he liked a fighter. Did a search on him and he's still teaching at that school. I'm thinking there's going to be a news buzz one day of physical kind at that school surrounding that coach. Frick him. You should have reported him. He could be doing that to students. My wife is an RMT, registered massage therapist. A lot of tradespeople go out west to work, be overpaid, but return to visit family or inevitably return. She had one such client who had just gotten back from the oil rigs and assured her that if she did a real good job he'd tip her well, in more than one way. She said she'll make sure she does a good job and to apply deep pressure if that's what he wanted, but he just kept suggesting a real good job and lots of money. She's not a prude, and she doesn't take crap from anyone. However, wasn't sure if his dong was moving involuntarily or if he was actually wagging it at her. I chimed in and let her know that the dude was definitely dong wagging, hoping she'd take notice. Obviously she didn't do anything. Got a mediocre tip and saw the guy maybe once or twice after with similar, if not less subdued interactions. That's probably the worst thing to happen to her. However, a male colleague of hers had been charged with physical shaming, assault and causing physical harm to a couple clients. Crap does happen. More than one might think. Friend of mine worked at a spa. She never gave specific stories, but yeah, it's common. I was told about a friend of mine's experience with a masseur. She's really into witchy stuff and swears by the idea of manifesting outcomes by putting the idea out into the world and truly devoting yourself to it. She just doesn't really seem to understand that as long as her desires can somehow be obtained by exploiting the physical whims of various men, she will have no issues making things happen in life. Poor girl is 29 and she just found out that, as a reasonably attractive woman with great libido, there are countless men who will pay for her to do things for no reason other than the fact that they want to sleep with her. All that is to say that one day, after having recently become single, she got the idea in her head that she wanted to get a massage with a happy ending. Her mind set, she began her process of manifesting the outcome of fricking a guy who has just spent a substantial amount of time rubbing down her naked body. She succeeded, as the next time she went out to get a massage, the therapist roared her on the table and decided it was probably a bad idea to accept payment for the full body internal and external massage he just administered. My naive friend went on to assume that this only worked because she manifested it into existence, and it had nothing to do with a frisky man having spent 40 minutes rubbing down a thick yoga booty while she did her best to express how turned on she was getting. Titties and a thick butt are truly the ultimate superpower. I don't do massages, but I used to do body wraps for detox and inch loss. A regular customer came in for a half body wrap before going on a cruise. I knew her, knew she did them completely nude, and she was very nice. Her husband called me that evening and said her fanny lips were no longer symmetrical and I had to redo the wrap and make them match. Obviously I have zero control over how the body will react to the wrap, but knowing she was a good client, I'd be more than happy to try. I figure wrapping that area a little tighter might help, so I did. After the wrap, he came into the room and told me to stay in case I needed to do anything. He got down on his knees and she spread her legs. He started inspecting her. I stayed a few minutes not wanting to leave since he had told me to stay, but when the inspection turned steamy and they clearly just wanted an audience, I got the heck out of Dodge. He said I would have gotten a fat tip if I stayed and I said yeah, I bet it would have been more than the tip and told them never to return. I love how you put inch loss because you know it's balls. Also, your story is horrifying, but I'm glad it didn't go any further than it did. My worst was the guy in my school internship who kept trying to touch me and reach up my shorts, legs and stuff. I was in the mode of just finish the session and leave. Next time just walk out, the director said. Honestly I was too embarrassed to tell anyone until he kept showing up saying he was looking for me and leaving me voicemails and stuff. Finally I told the director and he was blacklisted, but not his wife. So his wife went in and he sat next to her, looking sheepish and not looking up. Some older fella. One recent guy kept telling me to do his legs but I could tell this was for, you know, other reasons. So I avoided it. When he flipped he took the sheet and blanket with him to reveal a full erection. I pretended not to notice and put it back over him. Then after the session he appeared to leave, something, on the toilet. Blacklisted now. Licensed massage therapist here. It is illegal for me to cross into physical boundaries giving a massage to paying clients. The consequence is losing my massage license. I have spent years in training and spent thousands of dollars to keep this license, so I will not do anything to jeopardize my license. No matter how much a client may beg for me to cross the boundaries. And they have begged, but that's not what you want to hear. So I have had massage related relationships with massage colleagues. That's hot because it's consensual, we're not paying each other, and we're both professional massage therapists, so everything feels really good. But the fear of death has been instilled in my mind to never cross that boundary with paying clients. I asked my masseur this once. We'd been talking about his experience as a therapist, and he made a really good point. When you consider how many clients a massage therapist would typically be seeing in a day or even a week, would you really want them to be giving you any form of physical favors? He'd get those secret shoppers periodically book sessions and be openly trying to get some form of experience for the session, and he'd give them the exact same answer he gave everyone else after he's already given out 5 massages earlier that day. There is no chance he would have any intention of doing anything physical with any of them. They're clients, not hookups. I've been on the opposite end. I, male, had just been out to a bachelor party and had a rough night's sleep, etc. I decided to get a massage to feel better. It was Sunday afternoon and I didn't think my normal place was open, so I just popped into the first massage place I saw. It was $70 for full body 1 hour. I was happy with that, so I went in. They asked if I had been there before and I said no. Got friendly service etc and sat down and started undoing my shoelaces. Then the lady leaned in and said, "And do you want?" and made a hand gesture that explains exactly what full body meant. I got uncomfortable, but didn't show it. I just said no, just massage. She said, "Oh, sorry, I think you might be in the wrong place. Are you sure you don't want extra?" I said no thanks and started doing my shoes back up, and awkwardly we both realized there was a misunderstanding about what the business was. I left and said have a good one and called my wife to tell her that the massage place near home is not a massage place. She laughed and we were both a bit shocked. Have never been back. I had a client with a slight language barrier. After giving him ample time to change, I knocked on the door. He said come in and was standing against the table totally naked. Giving him the benefit of the doubt due to the language barrier, I explained he needed to be on the table underneath the blanket. I left and he got on the table. When I came back in, he asked that I not use lotion, which is super weird. But I didn't comment, just started working. Then he starts asking me what I was doing tonight and I said I was working. He asked me to come to his hotel for drinks and he'd show me a night he'd never forget. I let him know the conversation was inappropriate and that we'd have to stop if he kept asking me to come by later. He was silent for a bit and then asked me if he could fly me to Dubai and meet his wife because he thinks she'd like me and that we could be a family. I said okay, that's enough and this treatment is over. He flipped over onto his back, pulled the sheet back and asked if I'd touch his dong. I left and the receptionist screamed at him while he walked out. In my late 20s, I used to work as a technician in a local spa in my medium-sized town. I specialized in Swedish massage and mostly saw clients who were there for one-off sessions. I did, however, have a few consistent clients whom I saw once or twice a month. One in particular, an incredibly fit man in his early 40s. The spa was in the same building complex as a nice gym, would come to me pretty regularly for a 90-minute session. He was always really nice. We'd chat as he settled in, and then he would get on the table and simply enjoy the massages. I would be lying if I said I didn't enjoy them too. He wasn't an incredibly buff man, but his muscle tone was amazing and I just really enjoyed touching his body. About the 5th or 6th time he came in, something quite interesting happened. About 60 minutes in, after he had turned over and I had begun working on his front, I noticed a very obvious erection beginning to tent up. I tried as hard as I could to ignore it and simply continue on with his massage in as professional a way as I could manage. Hey, it happened right. After about 3 minutes, he seemed to become aware as well. He sat up slowly and removed his towel completely. I took a step back and as much as I wanted to tell him to please cover up, I was totally in awe of his member. He apologized to me and grasped his dong with his right hand at the base and began to twist. I heard a hissing sound and steam began emitting from the base of his dong as he removed it. He walked over to his jacket and pulled out a small box lined with soft felt and placed his detached dong inside and closed the lid. He walked back over to the table, put his towel back on, and goddamn you guys, all of these stories will be just as real as this one. I'll admit, you had me in the first half. There is a pretty famous actor TV show host here in Brazil who loves going to a massage place my friend works. She was randomly selected to give him a massage one day and he absolutely loved her and got a hard on during the process. He started flirting with her and since he is famous and attractive, my friend thought, well, WTH, and they kissed. He insisted in doing more but she stopped him because the other workers often come to get towels and other stuff from the other rooms. But the thing about this is that this guy is married and play the good husband on Instagram and people see this as a role model. At a point is hard to believe in her history, but I know her and she wouldn't lie. Second-hand story as I was told it, so take it for how you will. This is what I believe to be true. So my sister's best friend is a RMT and another one is a shift manager at the biggest hotel in town. Typically Corey the manager will recommend Dave the RMT to guests looking for something better than the in-house masseurs. Dave is essentially the unofficial staff member. Everyone knows him. He does in-room visits regularly and gets invites to the staff parties. Being the biggest hotel in a tourist and convention town, there are lots of movie stars and high-roller business folk who stay here. Dave has seen many in his day. One day a pretty big male movie star requests Dave for a massage. No problem. The movie star in the king suite with the fake name. This is all the normal stuff. Table is ready to go. Massage is going fine. Nothing out of the ordinary. Then out of nowhere the movie star flips over fully erect and says, okay, now work on this. Dave is as gay as they come as he is most professional. He explained that's not what he does and if he expects a happy ending then he'll stop right there. Apologetically the movie star played it off as a joke and asked him to continue. Massage over. Huge tip was left and asked not to mention his joke to anyone. The tabloids getting a hold of this. Am I right? Dave explained the situation to Corey, whom apologized, but really they both laughed about it later. Years later Dave and Corey told me the story and I was skeptical. Then when the allegations of the movie star came out as being gay, everything clicked and suddenly I realized I should have believed it from the start. I used to work for a very prominent spa here in Las Vegas. Here are some stories for you. A lady in her early 50s comes in to get a massage. She gets robed up and heads down to get her massage, stuttering words softly to herself. She sits on the massage table and says, "This is a sin. God won't want this. This isn't right," to the massage therapist. Gets up and leaves the room. She still got charged for the massage. I guess she felt sinful for getting touched by another woman. A couple is getting a massage. After the couple's massage, the therapists tell them to get robed and leave the room. It took them 10-15 minutes to get robed and a lot of moaning coming from the room. I walk around the spa to clean up. I open the door to a secluded area with a pool. I catch one of our regulars masturbating in the pool. He's embarrassed and I play it off as if I didn't just catch him whacking off. I'm in the spa area and there's this gay guy just prancing around. He is wasted out of his mind. He starts walking around the men's area, starts touching guys. He was looking for some action, I guess. I tell him that he needs to stop. He was not pleased. There were numerous of times where our female therapists get propped to finish off our clients. They feel that they're paying an awful amount for a massage, so why shouldn't they get the full service? This was a very prominent spa at the time. A lot of celebrities and athletes would come in all the time. So I'm a bit naive, as you'll soon understand. I love reflexology. It's so dang relaxing. Well, one day, having got the train from Yorkshire to London for work and after miles and miles of walking, my feet hurt really bad. So I googled a massage place that said they did something similar for feet. Perfect, I thought. Walk in, nice lady who doesn't speak good English takes me downstairs and asks me to take my clothes off. I thought it had just been a bit of miscommunication, so I pointed at my feet and took my shoes and socks off. The lady looked really puzzled, but she motioned for me to hop on the table, putting a nice pillow behind my head. I thought, perfect, I can chill out now. Next thing I know, she starts sucking on my big toe. In total shock, I kick my leg in the air and accidentally hit her in the face. Apologizing, I paid the cash and a little bit more and ran out the door. Sorry. No, but thank you. I'm not here for that. Terribly sorry. Goodbye. Still putting my shoes and socks on outside on the busy street. Needless to say, my feet still hurt. More so when I realized she actually bit my foot. Confession over. My boss told me a story about a time he went to get a massage. It was a young Asian lady, and every time she would get near his legs she would accidentally rub part of his balls, which made him hard. He slipped her a $20 and asked if he could touch her and she said yes. He told my brother. He used to work at the same place. Him and my boss were really good friends, and he went to the same massage place, did the same thing. Accidentally. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.